Hello and welcome to your September Coven Call. The theme for this month is transitions. And specifically when we're recording this, there's Mercury in retrograde, there was a full moon, and I wanted to provide a space for anyone going through any kind of transition. For myself, I went through a move last week to a new space. So welcome to the sunroom. This is where you'll be seeing me doing some yoga flows and some more Coven calls hosting right here. And yeah, I wanted to say for anyone going through any other kind of transition, such as a new job, a new partner, a new anything in your life, or, a transition of releasing something, holding space for grief, holding space for stuff that or people that we once loved, and whether or not they're here for us anymore. This is a practice that we can take with us through any kind of motion. And what I did want to provide for this class was an actual flow. So get ready for some yoga. Please get your mat laid out and your blocks. I do like having 2 blocks, and if you need a bolster or if you wanted to grab a strap, you can do that and support yourself. And we will actually just be beginning in child's pose. So take your time getting there. Bring your toes touching. You can sit on your shins, and instead of just diving straight into this practice and into this position, I want you to take a slow crawl and actually feel each of your palms rooting down, noticing what you feel at your hips. If your hips are floating off your heels, see if you can root them backwards and stay as long in your spine as you can until you get all the way down to the ground. So your arms can reach with straight elbows, open fingers, push into your mat, sway your spine from side to side, and let your head then settle down onto the floor or onto one of those blocks. Let your elbows soften. Let yourself arrive and surrender to this space. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. And take a deep breath in. And exhale, release it. One more together. Breathe in as fully as you can so that your diaphragm pulls down. You feel your belly expand, your ribs expand. Hold it at the top for a brief moment. Exhale, let go. Now let your lips come together. Find your breath moving in and out through your nose. Still filling up to full capacity. Being full of intention as you breathe your air out. Notice how you can help it get processed by lifting your belly button up towards your spine. Maybe you begin to constrict the back of your throat while you breathe so that you can create some internal heat. Check in with your hips, with what you feel across your knees and into the tops of your ankles, your feet. Make your hips as heavy as you can. Just for one more breath. And splay your fingertips out wide. Take an inhale, lift yourself up to all fours. Start to stack yourself up, bringing your knees close together. Walk your palms in so that they're underneath your shoulders. Maybe you sway your hips from side to side and work into your hip sockets, your hip joints themselves. And then coming into a tabletop, spread out your fingers nice and wide. You can tuck your toes under or leave your feet flat. Just depends on what you want today. Take an inhale, lift up your tailbone, lift up your crown, pull your heart open, and squeeze your shoulder blades down your back. Feel that stretch in your front body. Exhale and find the opposite. Tuck your tailbone underneath you, curl your chin in towards your chest, push the earth away. Again, inhale, arch through your spine. Exhale, round it out. Now you can try this one with bent elbows. Bend your elbows before you come into your extension. And bend your elbows to come out. And get groovy with it. And get animated. See what it feels like to have those strong arms and just move your spine. Or maybe you get full body with it. Just time it with your breath, whatever feels good there. Maybe you take some big barrel rolls, pushing out into your waistline side to side. Basically, looks like jump roping your spine, but you'll use your breath to sway and hammock your belly down, and your exhale will help you umbrella it. And then reverse the other way. One more time. Nice. Coming back to neutral, walk your hands forward, and maybe you come down onto your forearms first. Make your way down onto your belly, and just getting out of your hips after being in that child's pose. I want you to feel this openness in the front of your hips now. So getting long through your legs, push down to the tops of your feet, push down through your elbows, pull your shoulder blades back, and notice what you feel in your low back. If we're going through transitions like moving, you're going to be using your body a lot potentially, and maybe you store a lot of your tension and your strength in your low back. So notice what it feels like to have this lift of your heart. Do you feel a lot of compression back there? If you push your pubic bone down into the earth, does that lessen that compression feeling? Do you feel more connected to your front body? During this practice, I want you to pay attention to how you move from pose to pose, because transitions are important. Try squeezing your thighs and just let your heart lift a little bit more, and take some shoulder rolls here. So letting your chest sink, maybe you hang out and you're down and low. Otherwise, you can keep pushing up and rounding out your shoulders. Going both directions. Notice how that completely warms up the upper body. Now slowly come all the way down so that your chest is relaxed. And let's take your right forearm and hand underneath your head. And then take your left arm, reach backwards, bend your left knee, keep pushing your pubic bone down into the ground, and see if you can reach back for your foot. If you have your strap handy or you want to use a towel, you can do that as well. I want you to pull gently on your heel, guiding it closer to your glutes. If your knee starts to lift up, you might just find more of a stretch, but keep pushing your pubic bone down. One more breath for your quad here. Then release your foot and watch this transition, right? Sometimes we just like slingshot the foot back and it, lands really loudly. If we can just offer it back to the floor. And slowly walking up onto your elbows. I want you to take your left leg and bring it out to the side. So you have a 90-degree bend here at your hip and at your knee. And with you up on your elbows, take your right arm underneath you and reach to that left side of your mat. With your left arm on top of your right now, I want you to open your spine and take a gentle twist. And it's okay if your leg starts to lift off the ground. And it's okay if your shoulders don't go flush to the floor straight away. Maybe you stay in this place that's somewhere in between the two. And you just breathe. Notice what you feel on the front of your left shoulder, what you feel down your spine, raveling in and across your hip. This is just the first twist, but it's one of those amazing motions that really helps us process through sticky feelings, stagnant energy. Feels like you're wringing yourself out. Slowly, I want you to stack your left arm over back to the right arm. And you can slowly unwind. Let yourself stay with that leg out there like that. And see what it feels like just to stretch out your inner thigh. If you don't feel it, that's okay. You can let your spine just recalibrate in center, just like this. Forehead down, relaxed on your hands. If you want to stretch out your neck, you can take your head turning to the right and just counter stretch yourself. When you're ready, bring your left leg back to meet your right. Recenter yourself here. Maybe you wobble yourself side to side. Just rub your thighs into the mat. Keep your left hand underneath your face. Reach your right arm back, bend your right knee, grab for your right foot. Notice if your legs want to slide out from each other, just to be able to get your foot. Try pulling your thighs in alignment with your hips. Maybe not all the way together. If your heel touches your butt, but your tailbone's lifting off the ground, work on pressing your pubic bone into the earth. You channel this sensation with your breath straight into the front of your hip, down your thigh, across your knee. Give yourself one more long breath. And you can release your foot, transition your leg down, and slide your right leg out to the side. Walking up onto your forearms, reach your left arm through, slowly coming onto the back of your left shoulder. Right arm leads the way as you open up your spine slowly into this twist. Take your time getting there. It's okay if your right leg again hovers. You'll feel more of this spinal twist if you let your shoulders anchor down. But again, doesn't have to be there right away. Maybe it takes you a few breaths. Allow your breath to reach even to your toes and your fingertips. One more big breath. And slowly make your way back onto your left side. Let your right arm lead. You can stay on your side for a brief moment while you readjust your legs. And slowly bring your left arm out from underneath you, coming back onto your forearms and working your chest down into the center so that you can focus just on your right inner thigh. And if you twisted your head to look one way, on the other side, go ahead and turn your head to the left for this one. And just breathe. Enjoy the sensation. And then bring your leg back in with your left and let yourself feel neutral again. So if you just stayed super relaxed, just notice if your heels like to dip out. What happens if you strengthen up your quads, you strengthen up your glutes, you feel that pubic bone again pushing in so that your belly starts to tone up. Maybe you tuck your toes and you lift your knees off the ground. So keeping that same kind of energy in your body, notice this nice long neutral spine. Let your knees touch down to the earth. Come up onto your hands right underneath your shoulders. And pull your shoulder blades back and down and squeeze your elbows in nice and tight to you. Take a breath in. Breathe out and feel your belly firm up. And inhale. Push yourself up to this modified plank. Maybe you need to make some adjustments. Walk your hands closer underneath your shoulders so you feel this strengthening, this toning. Keep that neutral spine and just hold. If you want more heat, you could always keep the toes tucked under and lift your knees for this high plank. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. And exhale. If your knees are down, go ahead and push yourself back up to a downward facing dog. First one of this practice. So if you need to take some time to pedal out into your calves, do so. One at a time, one leg straightens and one knee bends. You just anchor into one foot, one heel, and see how that feels on the back of your calf. And once those feel a little more opened up, you can find some stillness with your legs and check in with your palms again. Did your fingers close up? Are your hands super close together? Can you bring them about shoulder width distance apart and let your spine push long? So as you push into your hands, your tailbone lifts. Keep your knees soft, juicy. You sway your hips side to side and notice that feeling you get along your waistline and underneath your arms. Deep breath here. Let it go. Take an inhale. Lift your heels, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees and slowly walk yourself up to the middle of your mat. Feet hip width distance apart. If you have blocks, you can snag them. Put them underneath your shoulders. Take a breath in, find this halfway lift, and an exhale to fold down. Now focusing more so on the back body. If you feel like you're shifting your weight back into your heels, try going forward into your toes. Let your arms or hands and the blocks help you stay balanced. Take one more breath. Bend your knees and take your time with this transition, moving from folded forward all the way to a stand. Once you arrive, roll your shoulders up towards your ears and back down. Shuffle into your feet. And let your palms face forward. You can close down the eyes and just check in with your body. Sometimes when everything around us is moving so fast, we want to do our best to keep up with it. And sometimes what's better for us, whether we realize it or not, is that we actually slow down. And yes, this can be torturous sometimes. But when we do it together, it can feel more doable. So take this extra moment just to feel your long spine. Imagine this mat was just in front of you like you were when you're laying down on your belly. You feel this gentle push of your pubic bone forwards so that your low back stays really long. And your chest stays open. Your legs feel firm in your foundation and your fingers reach outwardly. Just noticing the possibilities that are in your field, literally at your fingertips. Collecting all those potentials up and together, reach your fingertips to the sky. Breathe in, exhale, hands into your heart. Pull in just what's right for you. Inhale, fingertips back up to the sky, offer everything back up. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at your hips, dive down. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale and move the blocks out of the way. Plant your palms down, bend your knees, step it back, high plank or modified plank. Breathe in. Exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Nice and slow with that transition. Untuck your feet. Inhale, find a baby cobra. And pause right there. Hands can stay on the mat or you can hover them. Squeeze your thighs. Get a little length out of the back of your neck. Push your pubic bone down into the ground. One more breath in. Exhale, fold. And let yourself come down. Okay, push with your hands. Inhale, rise up to that modified. Exhale, push yourself back. Child's pose. So staying back here in your hips. Let's try stretching out the side body, which represents the present. So we get to acknowledge what's happening. Bring your hands to the right side of your space. Open up your left by reaching your left fingertips on top of your right. Get long through your waist. Let your left hip anchor back onto your heels. And slowly you can come back through the center. Transfer over to your left side with your hands. And get long through your right. If your head is down, lift it up. Walk back to the middle. Both hands planted. Inhale, come up through your tabletop. Walk your hands forward a bit so that you can come all the way back down to your belly. Nice and slow. Get your legs behind your hips. And this time, walk your hands closer behind, next to your rib cage. Okay. Pull your shoulder blades together. Squeeze your elbows. Inhale, peel up your head, your chest. Push into your hands. Lift up your heart. Maybe take this medium cobra with your elbows still soft. Otherwise, if it feels good for your spine, you can come to this full upward facing dog if you want to push into the tops of your feet. Okay, take a deep breath in. Lift your chin off your chest. You have a few options for transferring back into your downward facing dog. You could lower your thighs down, move your hips back, tuck the toes under and lift up your hips. Or if you were in that upward facing dog position, take your last breath in, and your exhale will actually pull your hips up using your core. Roll over your feet, land in your down dog. Take your breaths, smoothing things out. Whether you move the breath in and out of the nose or out of the mouth, up to you when you need to release heat. Okay, try taking your right leg up to the sky. You can point through your toes or just kick up through your heel and feel that inner thigh rotating up. Deep inhale. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, step your foot through. You can lower your left knee down. If you want to grab your blocks to help you with balance, you could always use those. Okay. Push your hips gently forward after you've, again, use that pelvic and pubic bone forward. Leaning in, notice the stretch you feel onto your left hip flexors. If your shoulders are over your hips, maybe you feel balanced. You could try reaching all the way up to the sky. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, and this time, pitch your weight forward. Bring your arms back, fly them high. Squeezing your triceps. Your chest isn't melting on top of your thigh. It's kind of hovering in this nice long line. You should feel a lot of heat starting to build in your right leg. We'll move through those positions together. Inhale, lift your arms back up. You can inch your way back. Exhale, lean forward into that lunge like you're about to take off. One more time. Nice job. So try this as a challenge. Keep your arms working their way backwards. Keep your weight pitched forward, but start to straighten out your right leg. Pull your toes up towards your face. Take a breath in. Exhale, you can release your arms, release your head, stretch out your hamstring on the right side. With your toes pulled up, maybe you point down and back up again. Moving slow with your feet and your ankles. You could also move side to side, pointing out and pointing in. This really is movement happening at your hip itself. Maybe there's a certain point in these ranges that feels extra sensational to you. You can stay there. Take a few breaths. And when you're ready, let the toes point up. You can bend into your right knee and take your time walking your foot over to the left side of your space. Let your shin come down at a diagonal. It doesn't have to be straight across or parallel with the top of your mat. If your hips are hovering, you can slide a block underneath. Otherwise, you can let your hips hang down and start to get into this outer hip. Okay? Use your hands to help you here. Take a breath in. Hopefully this feels okay on your spine now. Exhale and just bend your elbows. Let yourself come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up your spine. Exhale, slowly fold. One more. Exhale like a wave, crashing down. Use your arms to support you. And just breathe into your right hip. If you feel this pinching in your knee, a few things you can try is to rotate your shin inward and the calf meet out towards your outer pinky side edge of your foot. Another thing you could do is stick that block under there if it's not yet there and let your hips come a bit higher. If you're up on your forearms, you could grab a block, put it underneath your head. Wherever you land, take the next 3 breaths to feel. If you want to stay here a little bit longer, you can. If you'd like to play more with that quad stretch, which is part of your front body opening up to the potential and future possibilities, let's take your left arm back, bend your left knee nice and slow. Be mindful of your left hamstring cramping, and see if we can get this extra juicy quad stretch. You can stay down on your forearm like I am right now. If it feels okay in your spine, you can walk yourself up. You've got the balance. You can hook your foot into the crook of your elbow and find some balance here. If you want to reach up and over, find a deep, deep stretch, you can. You don't have to stay in one position for the remainder of your breaths. So feel free to play. See where you're at today. When you're ready, you can release your foot. Remember those transitions. Hands can come back down underneath you, squaring off your chest. Use your left leg to pull through, and then right leg can come back to meet it. I want you to circle out your hips. Do what feels good here. And accessing a lot of energy and emotions potentially in those hips. So let it run free. Let them move through you. When you're ready, back to table with hands forward. Tuck your toes under. Breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. Big exhale. Inhale, lift your left leg high to the sky. When you breathe out, just keep the inner thigh reaching up. Inhale and straighten out your arms as best as you can. Long leg. Exhale and bring your knee through. Lower your foot down. Lower your right knee down. And you can grab your blocks if you want some initial support for this low lunge. Settling into your hips. Notice if you got one hyped, you settle down into both of them and lead with your pubic bone so that you can get this nice stretch on your hip flexors. Keep your shoulders over your hips for now. Maybe the stretch travels through your waist and into the front of your belly. Try adding your arms up overhead. Take a breath in. And exhale, reach your arms backwards. Pitch your weight forward. So like you're looking over the edge of your mat. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Tighten up your triceps. Keep your hands really activated. Put that pressure like a dagger into the floor with your left heel. Move with your breath. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, get ready to fly. Inhale, come up. Exhale, pitch your weight forward. Stay right here with your spine. Take a breath in. And exhale, straighten out your left leg. Keep your balance while you pull your toes up. You can even push your heel away, potentially, depending on your mat. But notice how that makes you need to balance a bit more. Take one more inhale. Exhale and relax your arms down. Relax your head. Pull your toes up with your leg pretty much straight. It's okay if you have a soft bend to your knee. Let's start flossing through your ankle. Pull your toes up and push them back down. And then you can start moving in side to side. Remembering that all of this outer line is connected. That's part of your side body. What's happening in the present right now for you. And in the fold, you're working on what's happened already, processing the past. Potentially you stay in a position and take a few more breaths. Breathe in and just lift up your head. Bend into your left knee. Walk your foot over to the right side of your space. You can use your hands while you lower your shin down. You can scoot your right knee back. Settle into your hips. Use the block underneath if you need to. Okay. Breathe in, lift up your heart. Bend your hands. Exhale, bend your elbows, roll your spine down. 2 more. Breathe in, lift your spine up like a snake, transitioning down. 1 more. Exhale. Let yourself move down to your elbows. And let your chest make its way all the way to the floor. Settle into what you feel on your left side. Feel free to stay where you are. If you want to play with some extra movement, you can try with this added quad stretch. Reach back with your right hand, or maybe your right elbow is where your toes can sneak. And just keep checking in with your spine. One side might not feel the same as the other, and that's okay. Each day will feel different. Each week will feel different. Slowly release any grip that you've got. Make your way back onto your hands. You can scoot your right knee in and let your left knee meet it. Maybe you, again, take those circles, or maybe they're nice and small and they're just little turns, just small pelvic rocks or twirls. And wherever you are, make your way onto your shins. You can sit on your feet. We're going to do a little forearm stretching. Okay, so we've been here a lot. So let's try doing the opposite. You can bring your fingertips back, tops of your hands down. And if you lean forward and don't put any pressure on them yet, start first with straightening out your elbows and let the eyes of your elbows come forward. Then you can lean back. If your hands or wrists are flexible, you may need to start them more forward, and you can kind of start up on your knees and then work your way down to feel this, where you might just want to stay up and feel more in control of this sensation. Specifically doing this for the transition of moving, because your hands will get tired carrying things, putting them into boxes, packing things up. You got to give your forearms and your hands some love. even your feet. So if you want to tuck your feet or your toes under, you can stretch those out too. Okay, slowly release your wrists. Give them a gentle twirl. And then we'll go to the opposite side. So fingertips are still going to be back. Your wrists are going to be facing forward. And same thing, keep your elbows straight and do your best to lean back until you feel an inner forearm stretch. And for this one, you might feel more comfortable shifting some of your weight side to side to feel this a bit differently. And slowly, you can slow down your pacing, pick yourself up. Maybe you do one more little twirl while you make your way into a seat. You can center yourself on your mat towards facing the long edge. Allow your legs to go really long here. So part of the side body are these like outer lines, but also the inner lines for the present moment. So get yourself nice and propped up. If you want to sit on one of your blocks, you can. Breathe in, keep your heart lifted. Maybe you pull your toes back. Breathe out, let yourself slowly walk down just like you did for your first child's pose. Perhaps you don't walk down as far, and that is also a-okay. Breathe into your inner thighs. Close your eyes. Notice how the more you focus on your breath, the more space you can take up. And slowly walk backwards. Take your time, lifting up your spine. Use your hands. Get your legs to come together. You can stamp your feet down, let your knees tick-tock side to side. Then you can walk your feet towards the end of your mat, booty towards the center. Slowly roll yourself down one notch at a time until you get all the way down onto your spine. Then you can walk your feet in, hug your knees in towards your chest. Rock side to side. Feel again into your low back. Maybe take some knee circles. Both directions. Now for this one, hold your right knee in towards your chest. Lengthen out your left leg. And feel this deep pulling in towards your waist as you breathe in. When you breathe out, you can let your foot down for a brief moment to scoot your hips to the right and let your leg again fall to the left. This time your right arm can come out to the side. Coming back to this position for the second time. What does it feel like? Take another breath in. Breath out. Roll back to center. Take your hips back to the middle, both knees in. Grab a hold of your left leg and straighten out your right leg. Give yourself a deep pulling in as you breathe in. When you breathe out,
Let your leg come down, shift your hips, and then let the leg travel all the way over to your right. Left arm this time can anchor back and give you that sense of heaviness to wring out your spine on the side. Take your time, unwinding. Bring yourself back to the center. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Perhaps you pick up your head and give your knees a kiss. Breathe in and breathe out. Relax your head, relax your legs and your arms. Allow yourself to find a position of stillness. Stillness helps balance out all the movement, all the transitioning. Think about where else in your life might you need some stillness to balance all the motion. Or perhaps you think about being present. Practice being your own watcher, your own witness to what you're going through, what you're feeling at this very, very moment.
It's wonderful to honor the past, and it can be so exciting to think about the future, or so daunting. But something to remember is that all we have is the now. So keeping your eyes closed, just laying in a position where you can find full rest. Just take 10 breaths. Lick your lips. Move your fingertips, move your toes. Take a deep breath in Then let it go. Again, being watchful and mindful of the transitions out of stillness. Maybe you take a full body stretch. Roll over onto a side and pause right there. Beginning in this fetal pose after your Shavasana, your corpse pose. What do you want to bring with you off the mat? What do you want to leave to rest? Carry only what you need with you up into a seat. Find a long spine, bring your hands centered into your heart. Take one more breath with me through the nose. Exhale and give it all back. Thank you so, so much for moving with me, taking this flow with me from my heart to yours. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this Coven call, and let me know if you would like to see more like this with me, just guiding some movement and yeah, enjoying our space and time together. All right, until next time, see you in the community.